proving that the fandom menace isn't just angry males. It's Toxic Femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge After Dark, with Mecha Random 42, Mary Mayhem, and Miss Sarcastic Nerd.
Boom, jagalaga. What is up, guys?
Fantastically fun time is what I'm having. Yes, yes, yes.
The world is imploding this week, or at least Disney is imploding.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to see everybody out in the chat tonight. We are Toxic Femininity, so why don't we go ahead and do a little introductions of the ladies here on the panel. We'll start off with Miss sitting over there.
Hi, I'm Miss Sarcastic Nerd. You can call me Miss, because if you don't, I'm gonna harm you in some horrible way. You can find me on YouTube, Miss Sarcastic Nerd. I said it. And you can find me on Twitter under the same name. I'm awesome.
I heard music. I heard it.
My music prematurely ejaculated into our ears.
Music.
It's because I did a braless bounce earlier. And if you guys want a braless bounce too, we can raise that $100 super chat total tonight. Just everybody in chat kick in.
A woman who needs no introduction, but we give her one anyway. The lovely, ebullient, vivacious. What's the other one you like to use?
I liked incandescent. It made me feel like a light bulb.
Incandescent. Ninja, harpy, devil, angel. Better than any Disney princess.
Oh, fucking rock star. You know it.
She's the queen rock star of YouTube interwebs. Miss Mecha Random 42.
Hello. Sith Lord missed it. It's still up. I didn't unlist the stream today, so it's towards the end. Watch the whole thing.
It was a good stream.
It was awesome.
You were catching all kinds of, everybody wanted to talk about certain things. You're like, no, not my thing.
That's how I am, though. I'm a complete bitch. Just like, yeah, just trigger me and I'll snap at you too. No, I'm not that bad.
Is that a Godzilla poster behind you?
Yes. No, Generation Productions. Shout out. Woot.
Oh yeah.
The same one who I gave you your Aladdin poster.
He's such a good dude. We love Generation Production.
Shout out.
He sent me my my Aladdin poster as well.
I need to find a place for it now. I don't know where it's going to be up here on camera.
That's right. Is that one double-sided too? Like
yes.
Poster?
Oh, yes.
I wonder if Mr. Generation Productions has some connections with That's what those are for, is the light boxes.
The light boxes, yeah.
So you don't have to get something like that at some point. That's so cool. Uber exciting. Well, I guess I'll introduce myself as well. Hi, guys. I am Mary B. And I'm the Mistress of Mayhem. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem. I like to disrupt narratives and stuff.
The Mistress of Mayhem and Disorder in the orderly fashion here on YouTube. I am fucked up, folks. My back is all messed.
Tom hurt himself. Tom has a boo-boo. Tom has an owie.
Oh, bad.
We offered to kiss and make it better, but he was too sluggish to acknowledge it.
You guys just got me more excited, and that made it worse.
He's got a fever.
Something.
Yeah, my back will be given out tonight, too, for all the bouncing.
And the only prescription is more bouncing.
I was going to say, I have plenty of reasons to put your back out, Mecca.
Well,
the only solution, a hot beef injection.
Maybe. I've never tried it.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, I have to crack up at 16-bit mascot. He's in the chat. It says, it's fun to say Hail Mary.
Make sure you hit that like button.
The Mistress of Mayhem is with us.
I love that. I'm not wearing a nun get up though. You can forget it. So I guess we have quite a few topics to go through tonight. Disney is in full implosion mode as we speak.
Good. And I'm okay with that. Burn, die Disney.
On all the fronts. They're doing all the stupid things right now.
Die Disney.
Die Disney. Which one do we want to start off with? Because I know there's a few of these.
There's so many.
What's the most fun? We'll start off with the fun one. Was that the fight?
Yeah, the fight.
Yeah.
Mecca's
fight.
funny.
I'm what? I'm a demon
Can we
today.
show it? Can we show the fight?
Mecca's horny again. You know what? I think I showed it last night. We're probably demonetized anyway.
Can't be horny or for trivia.
We're demonetized.
We're always demonetized. That's because I'm here.
Actually, we're not demonetized yet, but
Many versions.
might as well be.
Yeah, Tom, if you can show the fight.
Uttering and shit. Did you hear that shit? I'm talking like Porky Pig and shit.
Aren't they such women respecters, though? They respect all the women because
yeah, this one's a good one for you guys here. Let me get this up. I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
Nothing. They didn't even do anything to these guys, right? Now, I'm not saying the women weren't acting like damn fools as well. Of course they were, right? But that guy freaking lambasted that chick, and she was walking away when he did it, right? Like she was mid walk away. And I'm not saying she wasn't being a twat, because she was. She was being an antagonistic little brat. But at the same time, like, he beat the absolute hell out of her, and they've done nothing to him. Nothing. Like, dude, can you see it? Can we?
Yeah.
Can we like screen lock?
Oh, Tom has it. Tom has it.
Dude, look at that.
Find the whole thing. Yeah. Well, here's the whole 4-minute fight. It's kind of hilarious. And I'll link it to you guys in chat as well.
Oh, I got the one you gave me last night. Yeah.
Okay, the 4-minute one, yeah.
I think so.
This goes on. There are children, not just children around them, their own kids. He beats, look at this, in the middle of Toontown.
Man, this is horrible for Toontown. This kind of shit ain't happened for like 60 years. I mean, what, like that was the last time when like June got killed. That's the last time anything like this happened. I know, I'm making light of it.
He walk up to her out of nowhere, grab her by the hair, and start swinging her around like it's a cartoon. Like,
where's there's a little baby walking around. Where is it?
Yeah.
And they have the janitor getting in between them.
Yeah, where the hell is
security? I don't have a decent bell, like, you know, let's get ready to rumble. Just tell me to shut my mic.
Yeah, so the one guy like tries to wheel the babies out of the way, but then this girl in like the tan tank top, they're getting into it. She's getting into it with I think she's the girlfriend, or is
okay. Here's the thing: you've got
the wife.
You got what 2-3 employees are just watching on here. This guy's actually getting involved though, and then eventually, and I'll shut up. I promise.
No, that's fine.
And then you'll see another.
Then he starts hitting her again, throws her down on the ground.
All right, I can't show anymore. I got yelled at.
Why? You got yelled at by who?
I got one of those warnings.
Oh, that's weird.
Those things this isn't even like YouTube.
I'll do it in a little window. Let's see if that does it. Oh no, I think I just lost it. So, oh no, there it is.
Well, that's the type of thing we have to talk over it too. That's the thing, you have to talk over it.
Well, that's part of it. I think it was just because I was streaming it full screen.
That too.
I showed the whole thing last night and it didn't get that.
Yeah, and
I got it otherwise did not authorize to use. Blah blah blah.
Look at it. He grabs her and swings her around and throws her on the ground like she's a sack of potatoes.
Right?
Like, what the hell kind of a man does that? Right? You've got women knocked on the ground. You've got children screaming and crying. And all this is going on. And first of all, these people should be horribly ashamed of themselves. Because what the hell is wrong with you? I don't care what the argument was about. It doesn't devolve into this, right?
Oh, Mecca knows.
What was it about?
Yeah, he showed up at Disneyland with his girlfriend, and lo and behold, his wife is there. That's all. Yeah. And there's even a part where he punches the other girl in the face.
Wow. Still, your babies are there. Your babies are there.
Right?
What are you doing?
They don't care. I don't think they care. I don't think they care. These are grown children. They're so selfish.
Says he feels sorry for the actual security who couldn't do anything or being called racist. They didn't even show up until over 3 minutes after into the fight. And the dude that shows up just walks around until the backup shows up. Then they get involved. They do get involved at the end.
Well, here's the thing. They're not allowed to actually touch them. That's part of it. You're not allowed to touch them.
But that's where you get the actual fucking cops involved then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're supposed to escort them out of the park until they get to until like they leave and can turn them over to the police, but they're not allowed to actually physically put their hands on them, or else they would be sued, which is kind of bullshit.
I don't know how that works because you can get tossed out of a fucking bar. Try and sue a bar owner who does that. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up now.
Well, I think that's because the bar is more of a private property thing, and it's a different sort of Well, Disneyland is, but it's such a huge, giant corporation, and like you're not going to sue a bar owner who has like
but don't they
5,000 in the bank. You're going to sue $1 billion Disney.
Don't they have their own police force though? I had always heard that Disney had their own police force.
I don't know.
That could just be in Orlando. But
that's the other thing I was trying to say too. But I'm going to definitely shut up now. So.
Well, I know this much. You've got men beating the absolute hell out of women. I'm not saying they weren't antagonistic about it, right? But at the same time, this is happening in front of children, right? You've got children, not just your own children, although you should be ashamed of the fact that you would do this in front of your own children. But now you've got other people and their children witnessing this horror in Toontown Disneyland, of all places, supposed to be the happiest place on earth, right? Black Ink has put up a video, I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, where this fight is going down and this When You Wish Upon a Star is playing over top of it.
That's amazing. This is going to be so memed. I love it. I love it. I love watching the train wreck of these things sometimes.
Yeah. It's...
Because it kind of serves them right.
Well, yeah, Disney deserves every bit of this. Because they didn't have security on this from get-go. You let people get the hell beat out of themselves in the middle of Toontown Disney. And you let this go on for ages. Like, my parents can't even... Look, my parents are smokers, right? There are these designated areas in the park. I think there's 2 of them all over the entire Magic Kingdom where my parents can go to smoke a cigarette. They step a toe out of that area and security is on them like ducks on June bugs. But
that's what I'm saying. I've never been to one of these places. I don't mean to interrupt you, Mary, but every story I've ever heard, the security is always like right there.
Yeah. Like, someone explained to me why it is that my parents can't step a toe out of a smoking area, but you're going to let these guys get into an all-out fist fight brawl in front of children, and that goes on for nearly 5 minutes, and you just let this happen. That woman got the absolute shit beat out of her. You had 2 women on the ground, and this just goes on and just goes on. Disney deserves every bit of bad press that they get for this. It feels like it's imploding, and I want to know why nothing has been done to the people who did this mess, who they seriously endangered everyone around them. Everyone who was around them in that park was in danger. There were children there. What if this was ridiculous? People were in danger, and you let this go down. This is insane. What the hell? Disney? Why?
It's very interesting that they allowed it to be filmed too, because just working in a regular store, they tell you to make sure to be on your best behavior because you're being watched, and people sometimes whip out their phones when they're talking with you. So they, of course, should have been told, like, they're going to be filming. That should have been an obvious thing. Like, if this goes down, they're going to be filming you, and if you're not doing anything, you're going to be in trouble for that.
Yeah, this was insane. And look, I don't want to throw out an argument for, potential, being wokeness or whatever, that the only reason they haven't done anything about this is because they were people of color. But I do put out there a sort of confused and befuddled why have you let this go on and not done anything about it? You have to understand the backlash that there's going to be for you to just allow this to go on. If I'd been there, I seriously probably would have sued Disney. I would have been like, I want to know why you left my children in a situation where they were literally in danger and you did nothing about it, and you're not even pressing charges against the people who did it.
Yeah, as a grown man punching women in the face, right? That's
Here's
the
my thing. I'm a white male. If I were to rage like that in that park, do you think I'd ever be allowed back in?
no. And why weren't they like banned from the park? That's the thing. I would say, okay, you're no longer welcome to. Like they were throwing out people with dyed punk rock hair in the 1980s.
Or shit.
Like Gary will tell you all about this. Gary on Neurotic, he'll tell you all about this. They were throwing out punk rockers because we were supposed to be degenerates or whatever in the 1980s at Disneyland. Fuck you, Disney. Seriously. Seriously, like this guy, he was punching women in the face. He was throwing people on the ground. The one woman, I don't know if she fell out of her little electric wheelchair thing or what. Like, yeah, I would probably sue and say, look, you had a madman running around punching women in the face and you did nothing. Yeah, absolutely. I would sue them. And I think everybody should.
Yeah, I think everybody who was there in the park in Toontown that day who bore witness to that should absolutely come together with an entire group civil suit and sue Disney for basically endangering their safety and doing nothing about it. Where the hell was your security? Where the hell were your people at? Because this was an actual volatile, dangerous situation and you did nothing. And you're still doing nothing. And that's the mind-blowing thing right now, is that you're still doing nothing. Why? Honestly, the only thing we can point at is because they're people of color. Well, that's racist. I'm sorry, but that's racist. I know you have a super.
See, no, I didn't even consider that, they wouldn't do anything because they were, of color or whatever. I just assumed that it's the same thing like if somebody's shoplifting, I've heard that, security can't actually physically detain somebody, but they can convince you to stay. They just can't put their hands on you.
Yeah,
so.
That's a little different though. The difference to me is like if somebody's physically doing something.
Yeah,
I'm not even a litigious person in the least, but Mary is right, and that's what I said last night on the show. I hope all these people who had to get involved sue. And if Disney wants to try and come up with anything like, well, they didn't have to, well, like, yeah, they did because their children were there. And this was a big-ass black dude beating the hell out of two other women. And I think 2.5 women, wasn't it? Because the one woman wasn't technically involved, but she still got caught up in the scuffle, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Right? I'm assuming that was probably the other, lady's mom or something like that. But regardless, and then we find out what Mecca said. That just makes the whole thing even dumber. I hope the cops push it to the limit. Like, this guy should not even be on the streets, let alone fucking in Disneyland. I mean, come on, or Disney World, whatever it is. I think it's supposed to be Disney World because it's in California, but everything we read said Disneyland, so I don't know.
Yes, Disneyland. Disneyland's in California. World is in Florida.
Okay, I get him.
If you listen to the video, you heard him screaming the entire time, "I'm ready to go to jail tonight." Sorry, I know you get a super chat, Tom.
No, you're fine. And I thought I heard somewhere else where this guy might be an ex-NFL player. Is that true?
I hadn't heard about that.
I
don't know. I don't know. Let me see.
Maybe he looks like one.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. This guy is huge. I mean, you should have 4 or 5 big security guys on top of him already. I don't care what, because like, you were saying about, they can't get involved because they could sue. Well, what about all those people, like we just said, that could sue because they didn't get involved? And what if somebody would have gotten hurt trying to take this guy down? At least he didn't seem like he was acting out towards other people, but that's not even the point.
There's one guy. There's one guy who kind of keeps wandering around, trying to calm the situation down. He's got a hat on. He's there basically, hey, come on, let's break it up. He's really calm. He's handling the
groundskeeper guy.
I don't know if he was a groundskeeper. He might have just been a guest.
Well, no. Are you checking? Oh, you're not talking about the guy with the broom in his hand?
No, not that guy. He's like got a Yankees hat or something. Or
yeah, we can't show him. I kept getting warnings, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You want to get the? I don't know if you've read the super chat yet or not, Tom.
I did the cha-ching, but I missed it. I'm sorry. 16-bit mascot, $2 super chat. Support for the toxic ladies. Yes, they're so toxic.
Yeah. No, but it's true. I saw a guy there as well, like in the video, who was he didn't look like he had anything to do with Disney. He was just the guy. And if you listen to the video, the guy's running around screaming, "I'm ready to go to jail tonight." I'm sorry, but those are the words of a person who does not give a damn what they do or who they hurt. And so everyone in that area had every cause and reason to be absolutely terrified of the situation.
And it was because he got caught, you know, that feeling of getting caught, that embarrassing feeling that he had. He became violent because of it. He lost his shit because he got caught.
Yeah. And she didn't even hit him first, right, Mecca?
Did I what?
First, he was the first one to swing, right?
I believe he was. Yeah, I believe so.
From what I could tell, it looked like he just started swinging.
Well, we don't have a whole lot. We just have it leading up to it, right? So we just have,
Right.
or we don't have.
I don't remember seeing anybody else getting violent with him first. And the reason I bring that up is this: I am one of those that I don't feel like, in any situation, shape, or form, a man should ever, ever, ever hit a woman, unless she is obviously able to do some kind of damage to that person and tries to first. That is the only other time I can see anything. And in that case, still, to subdue somebody's, just as easy as hitting them. You know what I mean? It takes no big deal. I mean, if you got some 200 some pound guy and some 120 pound girl who's hitting him, really, there's no excuse for that guy to hit the guy. You know what I'm saying? But if you got some woman coming after you with a 2x4, then I guess you're just gonna have to knock that bitch out. So,
yeah,
that's, I mean, not to lose any fans here, but to be blunt about it. But it's like, somebody did say it earlier, and I don't like the whole MAGA thing because we don't get into politics here. But women do want equality. It's like, I don't believe if somebody's antagonizing you, though, that you have any reason or rhyme to hit them in any way.
It's because he got caught, and that was the only way he knew how to respond to that.
That's the worst part of the whole thing. And then coming from a guy, it's like, dude, not only are you a idiot because you got caught, now you just made yourself look, I'm just going to say it, like a big old sissy bitch for trying to hit.
Yeah, he's a bitch. You punch a woman in the face, you're going to get fucked in the ass in jail, bitch. That's it. That's it. Look, so that's right. It's just a fact.
To be fair, if in fact she did hit him first, and I didn't see that, but if in fact she did hit him first, I am not in any way advocating violence from anyone towards anyone.
No.
Did she deserve to be hit back with as much force as she hit? Probably. But here's what I did see: that he wasn't on the ground getting his ass beat. There's a big difference between a man and a woman. And if a woman goes to town on a man can subdue her and make her stop. Does he deserve to get hit? No, she shouldn't do it.
That's what I was saying. And that's exactly what I was saying, because there was no way, as big as he is, even as big as that one girl was, they weren't, even the two of them at the same time probably couldn't even do anything.
Yeah. At the same time, what he did to her was crazy, right? Like he freaking mauled her.
That's what I'm saying. There's zero excuse for him in this book. I don't give a shit. I really don't. Unless somebody did, and nobody did anything to him that I could tell. Like you said, he wasn't on the ground writhing in pain.
No,
he wasn't kicked by two women at once. He was just being stupid.
And they were all acting like assholes. They were all acting like idiots, and they ought to be mortified of themselves and their behavior.
But they're not. It's probably normal to them. It didn't even seem like it was that much out of the ordinary for them.
Well,
especially if they're not pressing charges.
I don't know if the women weren't mouthing off to him some more. They were probably fighting amongst themselves as far as that goes. But either way, I don't know if any of them were trying to get away or not, or just trying to walk away, even if that's the case.
Yeah. And this troll in chat is telling if a woman hit a man, he has to offend himself. Period. Actually, what you're trying to say is defend himself. And no, actually, a man can just restrain a woman without putting physical violence towards her without being violent. So
you're being physically threatened with some kind of weapon, or you're actually in
it's not going to actually do any damage to the guy, right? You've got to keep in mind how big this motherfucker is. He is this giant dude, ripped, full of muscles. He's got to be more than 6 feet tall. She's not doing any damage to him whatsoever. This is why he couldn't be hitting them at all, because he's not going to get hurt, right? He's not going to actually get hurt.
There is no definite answer to that.
No one's saying she's right, but
she's not. They all fucking suck. Yeah, they all suck.
What he can do to him and what he can do to her are two entirely different things.
Mm-hmm.
She can.
An argument can be made if he was cheating on her.
Exactly. I mean, they all suck. And does he probably deserve to be punched in the face too? Yeah, he probably deserves it. Does that mean she should do it? Absolutely not. I don't think that any of these children should be throwing their hands on any of them, you know. And I call them children because that's what they are. They are grown adult children.
I'm
But no,
really
they-
where yeah, if unless there's
think
somebody in
people-
physical harm, then there's no reason for violence whatsoever.
But I think people are misunderstanding the women that maybe they're dealing with here on this panel. You are talking to women who are a bit more old school. Okay, you're not talking to feminists. You're not talking to women who are out there saying that women should be treated any better than men. That's not what we're saying.
Oh, I'm the one to
Women who recognize there is a difference between men and women physically. Women are not built to duke it out and brawl with a man. We are not physically capable of contending with a man. And for a man to go all out and start beating the hell out of a woman, even if she hit him, and I'm not saying she should have hit him. No, she shouldn't have hit him. But there is a big difference between the kind of damage a woman can do and the kind of damage a man can do to a woman. And we as old school women who have some sort of more at least in terms of recognizing the differences genetically between men and women, recognize that no, what she did was wrong. It was horrible. It was terrible. She deserved to be restrained. She deserved to be stopped. But she did not give to him what he gave back to her.
Mm-hmm. That's like taking a gun to a knife fight, basically. Yeah, she might give him a couple of scratches, but he could like seriously put her in a coma and fuck her up, right?
Yeah. And
like somebody pointed out, sorry, man.
It looked like he was trying to. It looked like he was trying to absolutely screw her up. Look, she was wrong. She was wrong 110%. But he shouldn't have, wow, what he did to her was insane.
Right. I don't know if she's even wrong. All she did was spit in his face. I get it. That's technically assault. But I think once you hit somebody, that goes out the door.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you let somebody spit on you and then wait for the cops to get there and you want to be petty about it, that's fine. I mean, it's gross. It's whatever. But you're not die from it most likely unless somebody has some horrid disease that you can actually catch from it. I really don't see any reason to hit somebody, especially a woman, and that's the whole point here. You didn't really do anything, America's comment. I think everybody is just thinking you're being aggressive because you have all caps. Maybe uncheck
well, no, he has all caps and he's calling us feminist and he's accusing you of just trying to
that's the whole point of the show is they're like the farthest thing from
I'm anti-feminist. Very openly.
We're not SJWs.
I'm not sure if you know what channel
anymore. We're not SJWs. We don't pull this shit.
Yeah, we're about as anti-feminism, crazy left-wing psycho blue-haired feminazis as it gets.
I'm the one who's been sticking up for the women here, and I've been just pointing out that there could have been other scenarios. That's it. Irregardless, I've said it doesn't matter. I didn't see or hear. I don't care. The dude got caught cheating. He probably did deserve a lot of what he was going to get in the end, but he did not deserve to do that. Now he just went and screwed himself up. And offend himself, unless you're trying to be funny, dude, that's fine. But if that's the case, I get it now that you said it twice. That's possible, and we apologize for misinterpreting.
No, he's been saying like you're only have us on the show because you're trying to get coochie or something. Like, dude, I've been on the show for a fucking year. Okay, if it were gonna happen, it were gonna happen already. So fuck you. It would have been a year ago.
Yeah, that's not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm on YouTube for. I try to keep that part of my life very separate from.
Anyway, we're not talking about a matter of
social media life.
We're talking about a guy who walked up to a woman who was walking in the opposite direction of him, who was not attacking him, and he went after her and beat the hell out of her.
And that's all I was saying. I think she was trying to walk away anyway. So regardless, I mean, this is one of those things, and we'll find out more about it in time. I'm sure the cops are going to charge some kind of, or press some kind of charges. So, yeah, I agree, Captain April. But it just calm down, dude. It's fine. We're all friends here. Nobody wants to be, oh Jesus. Okay, you had to do that. We'll just take him out completely. There we go. See you later.
See, now he's going to come back in a new account and bitch about freedom of speech. And you know what, pussy? Here you go. Can I have my theme music, please?
No, that's not freedom of speech. That's
I got this, Tom. Toxic femininity. Stop talking. So, if you want, for 1 second, to have your freedom of speech, go do it on your own fucking channel. We have every right to not hear what you have to say. America is a Kemet. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about there. You don't have to say it to us. You can go say that to whoever the fuck you want to say it to. You can leave and stop trying to control the conversation. You can get your dick out of your mother's ass or mouth or wherever the fuck you put it, and you can leave because I'm tired of your shit, and you can go. Sorry, Tom. You pissed
No,
me
you're
off.
fine. And again, I have no problems with freedom of speech, but I didn't say I think in there. I seen a pretty blatant accusation, and you ain't got nothing to back that up, buddy. So,
Yeah. It's all good. And I don't think anybody here who has any sense thinks for 2 seconds that any of us women are toxic, or that we're advocating for women to just go out and commit violence against men and there not be ramifications or repercussions for that. We absolutely think that if a woman is going to go out and start assaulting a man, that he has every right to restrain her, to stop her. But getting in a fist fight with a woman is well, it's one-sided, because you could kill her, and the likelihood of her doing the same to you is limited to none.
Whether it's right to hit women depends on the situation that you're in. It's not a definite thing. There is no, well, if a woman hits a man should hit her. It's very, very dependent on what situation is, how big the guy is in comparison to the woman, or vice versa. If she has a weapon, stuff like that. It's not black and white when it comes to this kind of thing. So you can't just say it's okay for men to hit women if a woman hits a man. That's not real.
Yeah.
and that's what I was saying. Not only that, I said that goes for everybody, to be honest. I don't think anybody has the right to hit anybody unless they're defending, themselves or somebody else, because at that point, unless
Only if you are doing so much damage that that's the only way to stop the other person, right? Or if they're doing so much damage to you, if that's the only way to stop them through physical violence. That is the only time violence is actually acceptable in any scenario. So the fact that this bitch was hitting him first, then fuck her too. They are all trash, garbage fucking people, and they all deserve to be banned for life from Disneyland, and I don't want them anywhere near me, ever. I don't want to be anywhere near these people. They're terrible.
And no decent lady conducts herself like that. Absolutely. Well, no decent person, but certainly no woman who considers herself to be anything resembling a lady is going to get into a fist fight with a man, or spit, or do this with anyone for that matter, out in public, or in front of your children, or really ever, anywhere, in any situation. We're not defending these women. We're not defending women who act like that. It's ridiculous. It's abhorrent. And we are disgusted with them. But at the same time, there is a power difference between a male and a female. And when a man decides to go full tilt on a woman, you could kill her. We're women. We're small. We're not meant to get into a fight with a man.
in most cases, yes.
Yeah, I mean, as a general rule, if I go and I get into a fight with a man, he's going to beat my ass. So I'm not stupid enough to embark on that particular grounds, but I certainly had my share of moments of conflict, and trust me, I can get heated and I can do things that aren't necessarily helpful to calming a situation down, but that doesn't warrant a man going full tilt on me.
Yeah, I think we spent way too much time on this and let that idiot control the conversation for too long. Well, let's move on to something else, like a super chat.
Super chat.
Range Lunatic, $2 super chat. Well said, crew. Thank you very much. And now let's do something good with what we do here. Let's talk about Ollie. Something that's really been out there, and we really need to get the word out because a lot of the mainstream media is not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to preface this, I don't think this is a problem in the U.S. I said this last night on the show, and I want to be clear with everybody. This is something we missed when we did our initial report. I do think this is only a problem in the UK because technically, I guess they don't have a fair use law over there. So anyway, I don't know who wants to take lead on this. Mecca, you've been covering it pretty closely as we have.
So there's this little boy who has passed away in the UK from a rare genetic disease that I cannot pronounce. And he was a huge Spider-Man fan. His entire life was Spider-Man. And his family, after he passed, has said, "Hey, can we have Spider-Man on his memorials to honor him?" And Disney said, "Go fuck yourselves," in so many words. Here's an autographed thing that your son is too dead to enjoy. Have fun with that. We don't care, right? Pretty much is what they said to them. Yep. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that's how I'm sure they felt, and probably even worse. I'm sure they were just devastated and heartbroken, and of course, Disney has allowed Winnie the Pooh, Iron Man, all kinds of other characters. There's even DC characters like Superman on headstones. There's really no reason to not do this. So, yeah, other than they're just assholes.
Yeah.
Well, and the truth of the matter is that it's not as if no gravestone has ever had Disney characters on it before. This isn't something that has never occurred before. In fact, we have pictures. I believe you sent me quite a few pictures, Miss, actually, of gravestones with things like Winnie the Pooh, things like Iron Man, things like Spider-Man on them. And so I get that there's a difference between America and England or Europe or whatever, but is the grief of a parent is the grief of a family over there any different, any smaller and more minimized because of some laws? I'm not sure that I understand what the hell difference it makes. Just because Disney's allowed to bully and push people around a little bit better over there doesn't make it any more right. Disney has the power to fix this. And the idea that Disney is going to stand on the grave of Walt Disney and proclaim, oh, we don't want to do this because Walt Disney himself didn't want the characters associated with death is complete and utter garbage. And I will tell you why. Disney was not talking about Spider-Man. Disney was not talking about Iron Man or any Marvel character. This was back before they had those characters within under their umbrella. Marvel didn't have anything to do with anything. And I'm sorry, but Spider-Man, the very first thing you think of when you think of Spider-Man, if you know anything about him, is the death of Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. So why is it that a character that is so completely associated with death and it being the thing that brings out the best in him is completely and utterly untouchable in this situation for this family? It's ridiculous. You're okay with putting alcohol in the parks, which Walt Disney was completely and utterly against, but a little baby can't have Spider-Man on his tombstone or in the head? It pisses me off.
No, it's infuriating. It is infuriating, the double standards, and the family has stated. I believe the family has been saying that they feel like it's just about money, that Disney isn't going to make any money off of it, and that's possible. They probably had some little intern who just did a quick Google search on what the policy was in their little employee handbook or something, and didn't bother to actually consider the situation, didn't go to a supervisor and really ask, hey, we've already done this before. They didn't go and take that extra step to help them. That's what I kind of feel might have happened. I'm just speculating here, but
right, and that's all we can do on certain things. To clear up some things that Small Yoda and some other people may have questions about in the chat. Sony only controls the movies as far as Spider-Man goes. They have no say over the character as a copyright. They just allowed in the UK, just back in December, this answers your other question. I think you guys touched on this, but it's not clear. Marvel allowed in December for the use of Iron Man on a young gentleman's gravestone. No problem, I guess. And this is not even 6 months later, and Disney, not Marvel, Disney is saying no. Now, just over or 14 years ago, Disney also allowed the use of their version of Winnie the Pooh finally in the UK, before there had been a ban on all characters. But I'm assuming Pooh being the most requested one for young children they had the ban lifted. Now, if you can unban that one, why not this one? What is the difference here? I don't understand what most people, most people are saying. And I even made a strong argument that this pretty much falls into fair use any way you cut it. But as it was pointed out to me, there either is a different fair use law or not a fair use law at all in the UK. And that's where I say our anger is pointed in the right direction, because Disney is the one controlling this completely, and they're basically flexing their muscles here. That's why. Because from what I've noticed in the US, it's not a problem, because I'm sure somebody at some point argued that it's fair use.
Yeah, I would say that this has something to do with money, right? Because you can purchase the right to use something at any point, right?
Right.
But
and the difference, I said real quick, I'll just say this. It's different if you're selling toothpaste and putting Spider-Man on the toothpaste. That's a product you're going to mass produce, and a lot of people are going to buy, and you're going to profit off of the fact that Spider-Man's on that toothpaste. As long as the people that are making the gravestone don't charge anything extra than they would normally for any service, or anybody else for that matter, then it should fall into fair use, because nobody is profiting off the icon of Spider-Man.
Not only that, it's not even going to tarnish the brand that much because you're going to go in and if you're there visiting a loved one or something, and you glance over and you're like, oh, that's so sad. This little boy is 4 years old, but he loves Spider-Man. And you're going to think of how much he probably was inspired by Spider-Man. And he was going to, like Rob said, be brave like Spider-Man. And how important, and you would be touched, and you might be like, hey, I'm going to check out Spider-Man.
This is a kindness that they could have done for that kid and that family. Like, a kindness. Laws, whatever that are preventing them from doing it shouldn't matter. It's just a human being doing something for another human being.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people stick up for the IP argument, and a lot of people say, well, the kid's dead, what doesn't matter? And I know that's a really horrible thing to say, and I've said that to them.
It's for the parents, though. It's for their parents.
And then I would say, clearly, this is not for the child, obviously, anyway. It's for the parents and the closure and what they want to be able to help remember them. And they don't want something given to them that's a thing they're going to have hanging in their house. And I guess they did offer to pay for, I'm assuming they offered to pay for whatever gravestone, because all they say is they offered to pay for some services.
Yeah.
Well, if Disney had any decency, what they would do is they would, understanding and learning that this little boy loved Spider-Man that much, because Disney has billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and probably trillions of dollars, right? Overall, we're talking about a company that has so much money to spare. It is ridiculous. If they had any decency, they would recognize that in death, this child loved this character so much that a family wants to put it on the gravestone. They would have gone and had it done and specially made for them if Disney had any decency, but they don't. Disney is not the company I used to know. When I grew up, as a child growing up, my mom did not allow us to engage with a whole lot of stuff out in the world. I was relatively sheltered. I was homeschooled, and we weren't allowed to do a lot of things. It was basically church, softball, homeschool, and that was it. But one of the few things I was allowed to engage in was Disney, because if it was Disney, it was good. If it was Disney, it was safe. If it was Disney, it was respectable. And this is not Disney anymore. This is not that. When you say Disney, the thing that's supposed to come to your mind is family. Is that it's supposed to come to your mind the sense of wonder and childhood innocence. And this is not how I was told and raised to believe Disney was. But this isn't the Disney that I know. This isn't the Disney that I grew up on. And I'm so deeply disappointed in them right now. And I would encourage anybody out there who makes videos, or even if you don't make videos, who's on Twitter.
Yeah, just share it, retweet it, put the story out on Facebook, Discord, all that. Yeah. Any there's a petition going around. But I do want to interject a little. This is exactly the Disney I grew up on, or grew up knowing about, was how can we market? How can we put this on a T-shirt? How can we sell a toy? How can we sell something to you? What can we do to get you to be a customer for life? What sort of marketing can we use? And for me, this is always how Disney has been. And sadly, I've always referred to them as like the evil empire.
Well, say what you will about modern Disney and outside of Walt Disney's many quirks, I'll put it, his intentions were always
his intentions were great. It's just ever since
he was not and actually there wasn't a shit ton of Disney merchandise until after he died.
Exactly. It's all nice, what I'm talking about.
That he would allow. He was very, 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 very stingy about what he would allow Mickey to be on and done with Mickey. Like, if I remember right, until he died, there was very few figures and dolls and stuffed animals and stuff like that of any of the Disney characters until way after the fact. Unless somebody wants to correct me on that, I've seen very, very little old Disney merchandise. Now, posters and stuff like that people have gotten from like different parks and shit like that's different.
Yeah, they had like Disneyland merch, but
Disney was built on a foundation of being family friendly. I believe Walt Disney himself put certain guidelines in place, such as no alcohol in the parks, because he believed in protecting the safety and innocence of children, right? And so even this sort of rule of not putting the characters on gravestones came from a good place, where he didn't want these characters associated with death, right? Because he felt that it might somehow diminish the joy that it brings to people.
Bambi. That's always my first thought, like Bambi.
Excuse though, because here's what I said, and I understand. Okay, if you're making the argument that you don't want any willy-nilly person to be able to put a Disney character on their grave saying, okay, what if some child molester and murderer wants Winnie the Pooh on his grave, right?
Right.
I'd say it's real simple. You just make a stipulation in a fair use law that any child's gravestone has the right to use any character or emblem that the family wants.
Mm-hmm.
Just not adults. And again, I think in the U.S. it doesn't matter. I think in the U.S. it falls into fair use anyway.
Well, there was the case of the Superman. I believe it was Superman, where the kid
That was
had
in
been
Canada,
actually
though.
abused. Yeah, so
And
that
was
was.
a stupid excuse, if you ask me. Now, if it was the abuser,
Mhm.
I would see their argument and point. But it wasn't. It was the kid who was abused. And just to say that makes you sound petty and like a heartless, soulless corporate entity. Just like this stupid excuse that whoever it was, and if it's somebody in the PR department, they need to get fired. Because this is a PR nightmare, as our fucking title says. This is.
Mhm.
You can't tell me that people's heads are not spinning at Disney right now, and they're trying to figure out how to fix this.
And they need to spin. And if we can do anything to sort of further the knowledge of this, it's absolutely imperative in my mind, because Disney's not going to change it until this blows up into the nightmare that it needs to be for them. So I really feel like we have a duty here, an obligation to speak about this as much as humanly possible, because this is about making sure Disney recognizes and remembers that they do have an image to uphold, and that if they want to be known as the family company that they seem to want to put themselves out there as, then they need to be able to advocate for families. They need to be willing to be there for families, and they certainly need to not be the enemy of families who want nothing more than to respect and honor their child and have something that they know was dear to it on the gravestone. It's not hurting anybody. It's not hurting anybody. So I say let's give them hell. Let's give them absolute hell.
I have no faith that Disney is that company anymore with how they've changed. They've completely changed from being any form of family-friendly company, or at least being the company that they were before. And this doesn't surprise me, this behavior.
See, I don't think that Bob Iger is a bad guy. I really don't. I think he has the right intentions. I think he has his heart in the right place. But you have to remember how many other people work there.
Yeah.
And if he comes out and has to do something, then that's a big deal. And in this instance, they're going to want to try and take care of it as quietly as possible, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, they need to handle it. Look,
we have to remember that this is the same company that got the copyright laws changed. I'm not sure, Dark Slayer, but I want to believe. I want to believe that this guy, in his heart of hearts, is not the cutthroat bastard like Eisner was.
Well,
Look,
look, no one is a bigger fan of Disney than I am, right? Like at the end of the day, I grew up on this stuff, and I sort of differ from Mecca in that I up until recently would have tried my best to always see the best in Disney. But this is just sort of like, it's just a bridge too far. I can't defend this. There's nothing I can say or do. I'm just deeply disappointed in them, right? Like I can't go to bat for you on this, Disney. You're making it really, really hard to find anything good about you anymore. You're making it really hard to be able to, I'm sitting here wanting to find anything that I can say in argument with anyone about this in order to try to say, well, no, there was a time when Disney was a good company, where at least, even though we were a company, that they had some good underlying moral principles. But I can't do that anymore, Disney. You have tied my hands. You have made it impossible. And because I refuse to be a shill and go out there and say things that are patently untrue, then I'm forced to sit here and just take it on the chin and go, you're right. You're right. Because there's nothing I can say about it. Nothing I can do.
Right. And Neil brought up what I was trying to say, basically, and shortened it. Disney is a big company, so changes, communications across all divisions is hard. Look at how long it took for them to deal with the Vader fan film situation. What was it, 3-4 days?
Yeah.
I mean, it took a couple days, and it wasn't really Disney we had to get a hold of, but I'm sure I'm not going to get into it, but the whole Captain Marvel thing took a lot, some threats of some things happening and others. I can't get into it too much, but yeah, it takes time for some of this stuff to happen. And I know Iger's a businessman too. This goes to another, Sean Strife said, and it's true. And he's a smart businessman, and that does not unfortunately go hand in hand with being a decent human being. But at least, like I said, I don't know if any of you who are listening are, well, I know some of you are, but know how bad it was under Eisner and how bad of a guy he was. I mean, we're just starting to hear of some of the stuff, and we've heard stuff over the years, but I mean, this guy was I'm not even going to say it, but
He was a duty head.
something like that. I mean, like I said, I don't think Iger is as cutthroat as Eisner was. Otherwise, KK would have been out the door already. Eisner wouldn't have bought any of that other stuff anyway. He would not have spent the money. I get what Iger was trying to do, but I don't know if he knew that things were going to go the way they were. Because to me, I got to believe he wanted Star Wars to be good, obviously, because he let Marvel just kind of do their thing. He went and let Star Wars do its thing, and unfortunately, KK was the wrong person. That's all I'm going to say on that part. But that speaks nothing to this here. All it's going to take is a phone call from Bob Iger. So, yeah. Bob, I don't know what the fuck you're doing if you're on vacation or what the problem is, but yeah.
Handle your shit, man. Handle your shit. This is exactly what you're supposed to be out there making sure doesn't happen.
Because at this point, you're going to not only have to let this kid have Spider-Man, but you're going to have to pay for the whole funeral and everything else just to make this up, to make yourselves look better. This is horrible.
Yeah, this is not. And if they have any decency, they will do just that.
Yeah, and not only that, they have another child with the same genetic defect. So I feel so bad for this poor family.
Right. And that's the thing. And if the family wanted privacy, that'd be one thing. We wouldn't be talking about it. But no, the brother went out on the behalf of the dad, who is just crushed.
Yeah.
Crushed right now because of this.
Yeah, and the grandmother's out on Twitter retweeting everything.
They want the word out, and that's why we're doing it. If they wanted privacy, we would be respecting that wholeheartedly. Trust us. Mm-hmm. Anybody who wants to just say we're sensationalizing this no, we're doing this just to get the word out there, just like the Anasab Dean thing, because nobody talks about it in the mainstream media, because Disney keeps the mainstream media down. Mm-hmm. Don't think they haven't told them to keep this out of the mainstream media, guys.
Oh yeah,
that's why you're not seeing it on CNBC or CNN and.
Well, I mean, can't we just tag our local news with this?
Yeah, but they don't care right now. And right now, ours are the only voices that are being used, that can be used at this particular moment, because they don't care. The media does not. They know that if they go out and they do something or say something about this, they're going to get blacklisted by Disney. And because they're all shills and they're all worried about their precious little passes and invitations to events and being allowed to cover things and not being blacklisted, they won't say anything because they're too scared. So our voices are the ones that are the only ones right now that are going to be used to lift this up and to bring this to common knowledge. And so I really do feel like it's sort of our job right now to talk about this as much as humanly possible. Spread this far and wide. Hashtag for Ollie.
Yes.
And yes, Kraftwerk 2K6, you did hear her right. The family does have another child with the same disease. It is a genetic disease, I believe. So chances are they're going to go through this all over again.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to look up the name of it. I cannot pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
No,
I don't want to say it wrong. It's a very difficult name to pronounce.
I don't think Disney's going to do anything. I think this is, in their mind, has been settled.
I think so.
It's our job to change that. I mean, I don't know. I can't give up. Like, I'm not walking.
It's not sort of giving up. It's more just, you should definitely be like, this is bullshit, and talk about this as much as you possibly can. But I don't think Disney's going to care or do anything. I think they've settled this matter.
I think unfortunately, they'll address this.
Miss is probably right, but unless we can all try really hard to get the word out there, and yes, Kraftwerk again, that poor family can't seem to get a rest, and that's just it. I mean, that's what this dad wanted. That's what it's so hard. They could give this dad so much, not relief, but some kind of hope or something to help him have something, and that's all it is. That's the stupid part. It's not hurting anybody, but it could help this family so much. Disney, and for a company that's supposed to be about families, you fucking suck right now. I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, you're right. You're right. They're so they only care about children if they're alive and they're customers.
Well, see, I think they will do something. I honestly believe if they're going to address Star Wars theory, they'll address this if we make a big enough fuss. I really do believe that. If only to save their image.
I won't say it's impossible. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if a couple months from now, no one's talking about this anymore and nothing happened.
No, they'll do something else. They'll do something else, like let a couple of people punch each other in the face in front of Toontown to distract us.
Yeah.
And not do anything about
They'll
that
probably
either.
actually do a distraction. They'll probably actually do something to distract from the issue. That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
Well, no, and that's kind of how they're releasing the. I think a lot of what Disney does is, hey, look, we're going to release this Little Mermaid thing. Here's a distraction. Oh, here's a new trailer for this other thing. Here's a distraction.
Yeah. The funny part is these are paying customers of Disney, right? Like this family had a child who was in love with Spider-Man, who bought the merch, who went to the movies, who loved this stuff. They spent money on this, right? Why the hell are we spending our money on a company that has so little care or concern for us, who actually has so much disdain for us, they can't recognize the honor, the privilege that they should feel at someone wanting their product to be on a gravestone. That's insane to me. Are you insane, Disney?
Yes, we are. Talia Al Ghul, Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers pretty much decided not to renew his Disney annual pass after the situation with Ali. And that's what you guys got to do. You got to not only cut ties, but if you can, let them know why.
Yeah.
Close the pocketbook. Close your wallets, people. Close your wallets to Disney.
I'm not saying be dicks. I'm not saying be dicks, but if you have a questionnaire thing that asks why you're canceling something, if you can see a customer support line, just be blunt and be kind. Look, I'm canceling this because of the Ali situation, or however you want to put it to them, but just don't be rude or aggressive.
Well, no, that's exactly what my family is doing. So my family, at the beginning of the year, they got their year-long Disney pass, right? They go to Disney every year, or they have for the past like 15 years, right? This is the last year. This is after this. They are not going to do it again because they're with me. They're sick of the mess. They're sick of the crazy. They're sick of the garbage. So this trip that we'll be taking here in August, September to go to Disney, this giant 3-week-long trip, this is sort of our last hurrah. This is our goodbye, because Disney, you blew it. 15 long year customers who you had there constantly. You've made so much money from my family. Wave it goodbye because you screwed up. You did this to yourself.
See, their attitude though is that they'll just they have millions of fans. If they lose one or two, it doesn't matter to them, because they've conditioned people from childhood to be lifelong Disney customers and consumers. And that's at least in the way I see it.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying you got to keep letting them know. And not just one or two people is going to make a difference, but if a bunch of people keep telling them that this is why I'm doing this, it will.
Yeah. This needs to be a PR nightmare for them.
Yeah.
I think they're having a nice week this week with it. I really do.
Yeah, they stuck their foot in on everything. Literally, to my stream for tomorrow night, and I have set up is Disney keeps fucking it up. They just keep screwing up. Like it is so jacked up. Everything is against them right now. They're absolutely insane. Every bit of it, all the way down from like this is like the third or fourth thing just this week.
Yeah, there's like all our topics are Disney related.
Yeah.
All
They're like calling their fans racist because they don't care for the Ariel stuff.
Yeah, there's that fun little thing that we're going to talk about. Oh my god.
Do you want me to bring that up?
Let's do that.
So, as most people are aware, Halle Bailey is the new Little Mermaid, right? And I've made it very clear, I actually personally do not care that she's going to be Black. I think that that's fine. And I think I can speak from an area of authority as having been a Disney fan my entire life. I don't see a problem with her personally being black. Like I feel like the original movie was set in the Caribbean. They're remaking the original movie, and for her to be a Caribbean princess makes perfect sense to me, and I don't have an issue with it. That being said, running around and calling your customers racist for not appreciating this, for having an issue with this, because I do see the other side. There are people who take issue with this not being the Ariel that they grew up with and grew up on, right? Calling them racists for that is deplorable, right? Like, there's an argument there, and you're not accepting that argument because you're pulling a Star Wars Lucasfilm bullcrap situation, I think. Let's see if I can pull up the article.
Well, the only thing I have to say about this, since you're doing that, Mary, basically we just talked about a company who's so worried about their characters and the iconic versions of their characters.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't really represent the iconic version of your character. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only thing I noticed about it. Otherwise, I've made my argument for I don't really give a shit what color a character is, as long as they're not parading that said person around and using it for woke points or to get us to talk about it, which is exactly all this was.
Yeah, that's all they're doing with this, is just to say, hey, look at us, look how progressive we are. Oh, you don't like it, you're a racist. Nobody said that. You're still all racist.
There is an argument to be had as to why she shouldn't be changed that way, and I totally get it. I don't care that she's being changed, but there is an argument to be had, because there are characters who are from certain parts of the world that if their race was changed, that would be a fundamental change in their character. I don't think her race changes who she is as a character, but there are characters like that if you did, and they would freak out on the opposite end if we changed them.
Right. Well, and I don't believe that Disney is doing this because they're trying to stand up for people of color. Because look, if that were the case, right, then you would just, I don't know, make them characters that were original.
Yeah.
Maybe not hand them hand-me-downs. Maybe not give them scraps and leftovers. Maybe have a little bit of decency and respect for a culture, and make it that way originally. Right? Give them characters that they can be proud of from the word go, as opposed to going, oh, we don't actually want to make characters for you. That would require giving a shit.
It's because they don't have any original ideas. They can't come with anything original. For example, I was saying before, was the second Maleficent. That's their only original idea they've come out with lately, and that movie looks like it's going to be awful. They can't come up with anything original, and if they did, it'd be awful, and it would do no justice to anybody. But yeah, the African American community should definitely be as much as upset about this as other people are.
I get comments in my comment section all the time that they're saying, hey, I'm a black person and I think that, Ariel should not be black, and I see that more than even people who, it's either that or it's people who say, I don't care, I'm not watching it anyway. But of course, a lot of people on my channel are like closer to my age and my view on Disney princesses. But
I've seen some black people say that they're sick and tired of this race swapping too. They want their own original characters, or there are already characters that haven't gotten adaptations that are, and it's the same thing goes with women. And I said this about Wonder Woman. That's the sad part. They're going to learn the wrong lesson from this movie. Mm-hmm. This movie should have shown Hollywood that yes, there are famous female characters out there. Exploit them, use them. Quit trying to, make James Bond a woman. You don't need to do that.
Yeah. Why don't you have women empowered new characters? That'd be good. I'd like that.
Exactly.
They tried to.
Don't beat up freaking, don't slap down Nick Fury and cuck him out.
Did you, so now the whole other thing was that they were thinking it was people were thinking, oh, it's Halle Berry, and I think they did that on purpose. They cast somebody with a very similar name to somebody we already knew, so you would think, Halle Berry, isn't she a little old? And then and then I think they did that for I kind of wish they would have cast Halle Berry. Give me a Little Mermaid / John Wick 4 with Halle Berry Berry and Keanu Reeves. Why the crap not? They wouldn't have the balls to do that, to make something interesting. No, they're just going to remake the same garbage with the same stupid songs and the same Disney princess messages and the same, oh, we're going to fall in love in 1 minute and get married 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
And it's stupid. And you know, I don't want to see them anyway. You know, and I was getting people in my comments that were like, oh, quit complaining, you're still going to watch it. Like, no, I'm not, actually. I haven't seen a Disney cartoons in forever, probably since The Little Mermaid.
Mecca is not the one to say that, guys.
Yeah.
Like, you have no clue who you're talking to right now.
Right? Like, I wouldn't see a Little Mermaid remake unless it had Linnea Quigley in full frontal nudity, right? Seriously.
Yeah.
No, I want that movie. No, I want that one. And I want Halle Berry as Ariel.
It's just so emotionally exhausting to be so angry at Disney.
Yeah, dude. Like, they have given us a million reasons this week, and good lord, it is so coming their way right now. I really get it. Like, this is one of the few times where I'm actually like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and lambast Disney, because under normal circumstances, I'm like, oh, come on, guys, they're not so bad. No, can't do it this week. Can't do it this week. Have no excuses for them. It's gotten down. Calling people racists for not getting the redhead that they want. Look, what about redheads? They never get anything.
And we talked for a second about all the redheads that are being replaced and recast in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, for people who kind of look a lot more like this new Little Mermaid, but you know, I don't know who the racist one would be. Hollywood, because it's something I didn't notice until you had a whole bunch of people point it out.
Yeah, I just think it's ridiculous that they're seriously going after the fans. Like Freeform is the it's a Disney company, right? Like it's a show, it's a channel on cable, right? If you know what the 25 Days of Christmas is, that's Freeform on cable. And they literally went and called the people who have an issue with this poor unfortunate souls. Now, if you know the original Little Mermaid movie, you recognize that as the song from Ursula, right? It's the villain song, Poor Unfortunate Souls. And it's essentially it's denigrating us. It's talking down to us, not just it's their attempt at wit and humor, right? But it's not funny because those poor unfortunate souls were actually the victims of an evil witch. So you screwed up there, honestly, Disney. You really screwed yourself there. Or Freeform for love. I know that it's a Disney company; they're underneath of Disney, but you screwed up there by calling us poor unfortunate souls because you kind of labeled us the victims of your stupidity. So good job there. You're dumb, and congratulations.
Yeah.
Your witty reference was bad, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
I think a lot of people were saying that their issue with it wasn't that she was going to be black, it was that her family was now going to be black as well. That it's not just that.
So she's not even Ariel, even, I think, is right? Because you can't have Greek gods. Wasn't it a Greek god or something?
Poseidon.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. I don't remember it.
Your father's Triton.
Yeah.
Triton. I'm as much of a Disney fan as Mecca.
I think if they have this.
This one bothers me because it's probably one of my favorites, if not my second favorite of all time, Disney movies. Because Pinocchio's my first, and I love this movie as a musical and a Disney movie, and I just don't want them to mess with it. Period.
The Jamaican crab was a little racist.
Black Mermaid too. One of her sisters, I believe, was black, but that's not even the point. I don't care. It just, to me, it's like you sit there and say one moment that you're so worried about the iconic characters you have, and you fought and you've done such a bang up job so far, basically, of making pretty much every single character you've had in these remakes look like the originals for the most part, which is pointless if you ask me. If you're going to do something different, you should have been Little Mermaid thing all along, and that's what makes it stick out, is that now you're doing it this time and never you haven't before.
No, you're absolutely right. They've done that literally to the detriment of the movie. Like, they cast Emma Watson as Belle in Beauty and the Beast, and she could not have been more horribly cast in terms of singing. and they didn't even bother to
Look like the character, yeah.
Like, you had to auto-tune that chick. Like, you were so determined to make this aesthetically correct that you auto-tuned your main protagonist.
Why didn't they dub her?
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, why didn't they just dub her?
Because who did they dub? They dubbed Audrey Hepburn in something, and My Fair Lady, right? They dubbed her.
Even in Aladdin, the kid from the guy Steve who played Steve, I can't think of his name. He does the voice of Aladdin, but he doesn't do the singing voice.
Nope, he does not. So what's the problem? What is the problem? Why on earth are you so determined to get this completely perfect on every single other one? And you make it a point, you go above and beyond in terms of aesthetic, right? Like, the aesthetic was so important to you, but on this, you can't understand why people would have an issue with the aesthetic. You can't get that at all. Are you kidding me? This is deliberate ignorance. This is determined mental gymnastics. It is insane. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying, look, I have above far beyond most people, am completely okay with a black Ariel. I really don't have a problem with it because I recognize the context of the situation. I see that she was in the Caribbean. It was probably a little weird to make her a super pale redhead in the first place if they were going to go with the Caribbean, right? But that being said, I understand why people have an issue with the aesthetic being changed so dramatically. And for you to take that aesthetic so seriously to the point of nerfing your singing in the movies and then be confounded and dumbfounded, well, they must be racists in this one, is absolute insanity. You are looking for a reason to be pissed at people.
You want to know why she looked the way she did in the Disney movie? Is because that's the way she's described in the original Danish story. Yes, she has greenish colored skin when she's a mermaid, but when she hits land, she has white legs, and I believe it even says she has fiery red hair or something like that.
Then I don't think they should have put it in the Caribbean. Somewhere a mistake was made.
I don't even think it's set in the Caribbean. The original story is not.
No, probably.
No,
the Disney version is, but that's just because it's Disney.
Yeah, but I'm saying a remake of their own original movie. If they're moving forward with the Caribbean aspect of it, I can see why this is a train of thought. So I think there's an argument for her to be.
Well, I'm going to throw the monkey wrench in there and go with the people who think Zendaya is the one who should be playing her anyway. She, to me, has earned it, and we know she can act. And
Ariana Grande.
Or Ariana Grande is another one who's been brought up, but still.
I mean, I don't care as long as the best actress wins in terms of all that. I love Zendaya. I think she would have been great for it, but I don't have a problem with this other chick. But I do understand why people would in terms of aesthetics, and for Disney to blatantly ignore their reasoning in terms of aesthetics when they themselves took it so seriously up till this very moment is ridiculous and bullheaded.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've went on this too long too, since we're really running long here. Was there anything else, Mecca, for the table other than Mulan?
I think that was it, right?
Brie Larson, I believe, was.
Oh, Brie Larson is a Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I say, you know what? I need a new guitar. Please do. I'd like, because like the Martins I have are amazing, but I want the nice solid wood one with
Mm-hmm.
So please make Brie Larson a Jedi. Where do I vote? Please do. Make her Ahsoka. Please make her Ahsoka for.
Yeah. Star Wars.
No.
Kill Star Wars.
You heretic.
So then I can get the Martin and the Schechter review. Please make her Ahsoka.
I love her arrogance. I
know.
endless arrogance this woman has.
Oh yeah.
She's just so snotty.
What did she call it? What was it? Something Jedi. I can't remember. Son of a cow.
Son of a cow. No, man. She is. She's completely arrogant.
Well, she was like, she said she got to hold the Mace Windu lightsaber, so she was like, I want to be a Jedi now. Oh, Jedi realness is what she's showing off her Jedi realness.
Yeah, okay. Have fun with that, sweetheart. You don't know about as much about Star Wars as freaking Kathleen Kennedy does. Okay, I don't believe for 2 seconds you're a Star Wars fan. I think you'll get in there, you'll make it all woke. You'll be like, "Thank you very much," and then I'll have to vomit all over everything I own and buy new stuff. So
Yeah.
I can't afford the damage Brie Larson as a Jedi would do to my belongings. Like I
She's
would.
not gonna be a freaking Jedi.
Like, I don't rage often, but I would probably literally run around the house destroying everything I could find in a complete and utter blind rage. This woman cannot be in Star Wars for the love of
She's-
all that's good and holy.
She's just being arrogant.
I hope so. I don't know though. She's got those Disney connections.
Yep.
Freaking Samuel L. Jackson in her corner. Good God, man, they cucked your character because of this chick. What are you doing, Sam? What are you doing?
Well, she has been known to hold his lightsaber and his unicorn horn a few times.
Yeah, well, a freaking Mace Windu in this chick's corner makes me sick. Like I'm
Right.
literally nauseated by this right now. Come on, Sam. I love you, dude. What are you doing? Like,
Doesn't she come across as one of those little white chicks who has to go and buddy up to everybody else, like people of color, like other ethnicities, just so she seems less racist? Like she'll ignore.
Yeah.
she really respected him.
Honestly, I'm surprised Samuel Jackson
Puts up with her.
Yeah, puts up with her.
I don't know. Maybe she gives good head. I don't know.
If she really respected people of color, she would have had something to say about it when he was cucked in freaking Captain America because of her dumb butt. I'm sorry, but there's not a bit of respect that's leaked through that. All I can see is a woman who thinks she's a woman. That's just a better that. Well, sweetheart, you stole that role from a woman of color.
She cucked him in her own movie.
The cat was better than her in the movie.
Yeah, and you stole that role. I'm sorry, but she stole that role from a woman of color. She doesn't respect people of color. She uses them as a platform to stand on for her unearned moral superiority. Well, it doesn't work with all of us, darling. We know what you are. That's all I have to say about that. Stick her in Star Wars, and I will.
See, I think I'm done being angry at her. I think like the same thing with like Alex Kurtzman or any of them. I mean, maybe until they do something else stupid, but I think I'm done, and I'm kind of looking at the gift that it is, the opportunity that it is. Right?
Pretty much the same. The same with me with when it comes to a lot of things. Like the Batwoman trailer made me laugh. I laughed.
Oh yeah.
Oh god. That was just funny.
I just like looking at Ruby Rose. I don't know.
She's gorgeous. Jesus, she's gorgeous. Come on over here, baby.
Yeah, go for a ride on a motorcycle. Getting an Oscar does not make you special. No, have you seen the type of stuff that wins Oscars?
Yeah, the Oscars have gone woke and so therefore no longer mean anything.
Yeah, I didn't even look at a minute of the last Oscars.
Yeah. I was surprised when I heard that it was going on that night. I was like, that's today. Oh, yeah, I don't give a shit.
I think that was the first Oscar I've missed in my entire life.
Yep.
I just didn't care.
Dark Slayer wants me to breathe. I get
No, I did watch some highlights. I do take that back, but
10 years of Oscars.
Like I always
Oh,
do.
she'll be the first Jedi with a unicorn-colored saber.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes, she'll play Ahsoka Tano, and she's going to wear her costume from Unicorn Store. You know, the one that looks like the thing you drive your car through at the car wash, those brushes.
Yeah.
And she's gonna have a glitter bukkake coming out of her rainbow lightsaber.
Did you see the way she was holding that lightsaber? She's got it all choked up to basically the point where the blade would start.
Yeah.
Like, instead of holding it at the base, she has no idea what she's doing. A fan of Star Wars, my ass.
That means she's heard of it. This is what your boy Zach over on Comics Matter with your boy Zach says all the time. That means, you know, when one of these new type of girls who are in the geek fandom say, "I love that," a lot of the time that just means I've heard of it.
Yep.
And this is why I don't bullshit you guys when if I really genuinely don't know. Like, I don't know the expanded universe of Star Wars. You know, I can say, yes, I've heard of it. I've heard of Ahsoka Tano. I don't really know that much about her. But I don't bullshit you guys, so that's why I say everything sucks.
Yeah. I'm so completely and utterly over Brie Larson. I would like very much for her to have an accident. It's not my fault if she has an accident, right?
No, I don't wish harm on anybody. She's been good to the channel. Damn it, with all the Brie bots and the YouTube changing the algorithm to protect the bitch. Yeah. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I'm tired of her.
I'm sick of your face, Brie.
But I think it is getting to the point where just anything she does is just like, oh, she's just being her. Move along. She keeps getting news for this shit too, and I hate it. Like, look at Brie in a Jedi cosplay that looks really bad, holding a lightsaber wrong. Wouldn't she make a great Jedi?
Not only that, that's from when Galaxy's Edge opened, and they're recycling that's news again. This is the same damn thing that they ran with like a month or whenever Galaxy's Edge opened.
Yeah. Wouldn't she be a great Jedi? No.
You're trying to get people to go.
Yeah.
No.
See, you might run into Captain Marvel herself at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. She probably had it. She probably had a memo.
One more reason for the place to be completely dead.
Brie Larson's there. Yeah. I don't need her lecturing me or being snotty. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
She's an attention seeker. That's what she is, and that's why she's anywhere.
Oh yeah.
I have a feeling she's one of those people who keeps texting you to tell you she needs a break when she actually just wants you to check on her.
Yeah. Yeah. She's just
Anyway.
She's a pain in the ass for everybody. Even people who claim to like her probably sit like, oh, frick, it's Brie. She wants to go out for golf again.
I don't know. She might be a really lovely person off camera. I don't know. She might be a character for all we know.
The rest of those Marvel crew people hated her. Like, that didn't come out of thin air. They did not get along with her. So I tend to think there's.
Oh, but didn't you hear? They loved her so much because they made an entire article telling us how much they loved Brie Larson. Look, she's smiling next to Loki and ScarJo, and yeah. See, they love her so much. See, she's not hated. They smile next to her. You know, people who are paid to pretend.
You know what that
make a living pretending.
That reeks of Kathleen Kennedy sitting on a panel next to freaking Mark Hamill and saying, he is so incredibly important to this story. That's what that reeks of. That reeks of insincerity and you putting on airs in order to make people feel important because you know you can't outright slander them. I'm sorry, but it's so disingenuous. It's so disingenuous, and I don't believe for 2 seconds they hated her butt. They hated her butt.
No, the way that they were in those awkward interviews between her and Chris Hemsworth and Don Cheadle, yes, they did not like her. That was not an act. That was
about to touch me. I don't like being touched.
I know. Or gee, I feel like we've been in an argument all day, she says to Chris Hemsworth. Yeah. Like, if you watch the entire interview, oh my God, it's great. It's great. It's more entertaining than the movies they make. Like, why can't we just put these actors on these press junkets? Like, God, I would rather, like, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to make a policy to not see the movies anymore and only talk about the actors on the press junkets.
Speaking of movies, we should talk about Mulan really quickly.
Not it.
Yeah. I'll engage in this with you, Miss, because I know it's not Mecca's cup of tea. And go ahead.
It's great. Have you seen the trailer?
Yes, I did a trailer reaction, which I would like it noted. They claimed before it was even up. I had it scheduled to come out at 1:00 today. At noon.
Oh yeah, the bottle scan it. Yeah, the bottle scan your channel as long as it's uploaded.
Yeah, at noon I got a freaking claim on it, and by 1:02, after I disputed it, the claim was gone because it's a freaking reaction, you morons. And I have one big giant issue with it, but I want Miss to go first. I don't mean to cut you off here.
Let's get down to business to bitch about Mulan. Because I mean, I don't care in the sense that. Okay, I just don't care. You know, they keep making reboots, and I'm tired of reboots. I think if they made a reboot of anything at this point, I'd be like, I don't care. You know, I there's already a live action Mulan that was made in Hong Kong. It's not in English, but you know, if you have a problem with subtitles, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
And they're doing reboots for money, very clearly for money, and they don't care about story. If anything, this story is going to be woke, and I know they are going to make it woke. They've been doing it with every single movie that's been coming out lately that they've been rebooting that has no problems with it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, the
So-
trailer reeks of woke, actually. Looking back on it. So my first reaction, of course, it's a reaction, so it doesn't hit you fully until you have a chance to kind of absorb it. So as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, well, it just looks like Mulan, right? And there's no piece of me that's enthusiastic about it. There's no piece of me that's excited. I couldn't even pretend, right? Like I couldn't even feign excitement for this thing because I'm just over it, right? And I'm sitting there watching the trailer, and it occurs to me now, there is not a hint or even a suggestion of the original reasoning as to why it was that Mulan went to war in the first place. And it was the most noble and good and sacrificial reason that you can have for going. And that was for the love and protection of her family member, her father, who was in no shape to go. He was sick, he was old, he was ill, he was wounded from the previous battle, and she went to save his life. Okay, this wasn't a journey or a mission to go prove her ability as a woman. Okay, this was about saving her father's life. That is why we all got behind Mulan in the first place, because this wasn't some assertion of her strong woman femininity bullcrap, right? We don't need that. We don't need another movie like that. We have plenty of those movies. Thank you very much.
She wasn't doing it to be progressive or do anything to be like, let's for women power. That's not why she was doing it.
Yeah.
And she knew the cost of it.
Why is she out there fighting as a woman in the trailer? Because there was only one tiny aspect, one tiny moment in the original animated movie where she fought as a woman, and it was towards the very end. It was like, I don't know, 5 minutes long. It is not the part you should be focusing on in the trailer. What you should be focusing on in the trailer is the part where she's going to war to save her father, because that's why we got behind her in the first place, because she was doing something sacrificial, selfless to the core. She put her life on the line for her father. No person in their right mind wants to go out and get in a fight with the Huns. They will kill your face. Okay, this was not about feminism or being a woman. This was about protecting someone she loved and cared about. She had to steal his armor in order to even be able to get in. So you're telling me now she takes her father's armor and takes his place as a way to assert her womanhood, not to protect her father? I swear to Bob Disney, if you take that from her, you rob her of every bit of dignity and respect and honor that she had in the first movie. And I will rip you apart. I will absolutely rip you apart in a review, because if anybody can get behind a woman going and protecting her father, that's me. But if you're doing this to make her woke, you can go straight to hell, because that was not Mulan. Mulan was selfless. That would have been a selfish act if she does this the other way. So
Absolutely.
we shall see what they do with it. But they didn't even drop a hint as to why she went. And she was out there with her hair down looking like a chick in the middle of all this battle, and that doesn't make any sense if she's there to try to protect her father.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, that's how I feel about it. Tell me how you feel, Mary. So yeah, I know we're trying to wrap up. Sorry, I got on a rant.
All is well in toxic femininity country.
So, you still alive over there, Tom?
Sorry, guys, I'm not doing the hottest here, so yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, we know you're not feeling too well, and I think you were wanting to wrap it up soon anyway. Is that right?
Yes, please.
Oh God. Okay.
So, do you guys want to start plugging channels, or?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Hi, I'm Miss Sarcastic Nerd, and I'm really awesome.
Why don't you tell them where to find you?
No, you guys can go ahead and do the normal outro. I'm just trying to stay awake here.
It's the mystery box thing, Mary. It makes things more exciting.
Go subscribe to Miss.
You can find me on YouTube. I've said this. It's probably in the description of this video, or it's on my Twitter if you want to go look up my Twitter. I make videos. I'm interesting.
She is. And adorable.
Mega! Tell them about you, because you're awesome.
I am MechaRandom42. You guys better subscribe to me.
Or I'll hurt you.
I can't. There it is.
Here's my theme music. You can just click me in the chat if you haven't already. I accept all sorts of donations and super chats and Streamlabs, and we'll be appearing in Star Trek Las Vegas.
Demon, pirate, angel, goddess, warrior.
All the places, all the places.
Light bulb, I believe, was mentioned.
And last but not least, Miss Mary Mayhem.
Oh.
Poor Tom.
Herself.
Oh, yeah. Guys, I am Mary B. I'm the mistress of Mayhem, disruptor of the narrative and official wham and card holder. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem, which is linked in the description, and I'd also just throw it up in the chat. So, yeah, man, I tend to be the one who will get into the thick of the Disney arguments just because, you know, I know what I'm talking about on that front. So, yeah, come check me out.
Subscribe to us, you toxic males.
Are you a toxic man? No, then come subscribe to us, beautiful ladies. Yeah.
Okay. Things
Well,
are awesome.
Tom holds the stick, so he has to do it.
Okay.
Tom died.
He's okay. He's gonna make it. We're taking care of him.
This isn't just angry males. It's toxic femininity brought to you by Midnight's Edge After Dark with MechaRandom42, Mary Mayhem, and Miss Sarcastic Nerd.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.